another program of Political Scope. We are continuing to examine Guyana's economic growth over the years and its impact on the population. I have with me in studio Honorable Irfan Ali, Minister of Housing and Water,
Thank you.
and the Minister of Tourism Industry and Commerce acting. Welcome to the program, Minister.
Thank you very much, Edward, and I'm very happy to be here to participate in this dynamic process of interacting with our Guyanese people in relation to the development, the economic growth, the challenges, the opportunities, the threats that confronts us as a nation as we strive to build a country where all our people can benefit from improved living conditions and where our young people can look forward for a bright future with great paying jobs and enough opportunities to cater for the expansion of our economy.
We started off on the footing of talking about the growth of the economy. We have recorded 8 years of consecutive growth, while other countries in the Caribbean and further afield struggled since the recession, I think sometime in 2008. Many of those economies are still struggling to get themselves together. We continue to record positive growth and investment in major transformational projects. Let us talk a little how those have been able to impact the Guyanese population.
It's very important for us to contextualize that growth and to understand that whilst Guyana has grown tremendously in the last 8 years, whilst we have had positive economic indicators in almost all the segment of economic measurement, there is still a lot more that could have been done if Guyana as a country and the Parliament as a unit would have understood the importance of various transformational projects and allow those projects to blossom and bring its economic empowerment, improvement, and opportunities to the Guyanese people. So the whole aspect of economic development has many attributes. Economic development is not a static process. It requires innovation, it requires bold thinking, and it requires a government that understands the transformational aspect of moving an economy into the future. We have a very vibrant agricultural sector, for example, but that is based primarily in the production of primary products. One of the most inhibiting factors in moving that to secondary product that would create higher paying jobs, that would bring young people into agriculture because it moves from the field into labs, into manufacturing factories, is the cost of electricity. Now, understanding this and the value this has to the economy is very important for us. So whilst we have grown, we have not allowed ourselves to achieve the full potential of the growth we should have achieved if we had implemented some of these transformational projects. I have a graph this morning that I wish to place on the screens for viewers at home to show, for example, one of those transformational projects, the Milas Falls Hydro Project, and its contribution to GDP. You would have outlined in your statement Guyana's real GDP growth over the last 8 years. I want to outline what is projected in the future without the Amila Falls project. And then to look at what that growth would be if we have the Amila Falls project, and what is the percentage contribution point that the Amila Falls brings to the growth and expansion of Guyana's economy and the future positive outlook in terms of economic value. It's important for us to understand this in the household level, to understand that this project is not about the PP civic government, and to understand what is the impact on the economy today and in the future as a result of the inhibitive nature of the opposition in not supporting this project. Of course, we have increased demand for cheap electricity. Electricity is perhaps one of the most important factor in building a manufacturing sector. The cost of generating electricity is also a critical factor. Now, if you look at the graph again, if we may go back to the graph so we can explain what it means to the people at home. The red line there shows what is the forecasted growth. The forecasted growth with Amylas Falls. How Guyana is projected to grow with Amylas Falls. You will see that we are projected to grow above 5% in the next 5 years. Once we implement this transformational project, we are projected to grow above 5% beyond 2018. If we do not have this project, if we do not build the Amylas Falls project, we will have what we call a flat growth curve. If you look at the blue line, you will see it's flat at 4%. So we will be denying our people the benefit in the medium term, that's the construction period, of 1% in terms of growth per year. Of course, the accumulated percentage is beyond 6% is a cumulative percentage impact on GDP. So the gray bars shows what Amylas Falls would contribute in terms of the expansion of the economy between not having it and having it. So this is a diagrammatic representation.
And this is just construction phase you're talking
And this
here.
is just construction phase. This is going up to 2018. If we look at another graph that I wish to present this morning, you would see in the second graph, which deals with the annual average electricity prices in the US and other countries. You would see that Germany is at 35 cents, India just below 10 cents, Russia just about 10 cents, Brazil just about 17 cents, China below 10 cents, Canada just about 10 cents, US just above 10 cents, and the other countries. Guyana presently, we are producing presently above 35 cents per kilowatt hour. The red line shows our present cost of generating electricity and what we produce electricity for the consumer. It's above 35 US cents, just about 36 cents. Now, if you look at countries who compete in the manufacturing sector, who we have to compete with to bring manufacturing jobs to Guyana, look at India, look at Russia, look at Canada, look at China, look at the US, and even Trinidad is far below if you put them on this graph. We cannot compete. There is no way we can compete and bring the large companies, the Chinese investors who have a lot of money to spend, the US investors, the Canadian investors, the Indian investors. It makes it uncompetitive for them to come here because of this single inhibiting factor, the cost of electricity. Our cost, of course, as I said, present cost is in the red. Now, if you look at the cost on the extreme end of the graph, which is the blue line, that would be the cost we will produce electricity at if we have Amylas Falls. So the members of the public would understand now how important that is for our economy. We will then be able to compete with India, Russia, US, Canada, UK, all of these major countries in the manufacturing sector. Once we are able to have the cost at the blue line, which are the end, and that is what Amylas Falls bring to us. These are the jobs that Amylas Falls would create for us. These are the opportunities that it will create for us. So those two graphs give you a diagrammatic representation of how important this project is, this single transformational project is to the generation of jobs. So when the opposition speak about creation of jobs, creation of opportunities for our young people, they must understand that those opportunities can only be created if we have the right infrastructure, if we have the right investment platform, if we have the essential elements that would create new aspects of our economy, that will generate new jobs within our economy. More young people are now technically trained at the technical institutes. More young people are coming out with more subject CXC, with degrees. So they look for a better paying job and a job in a more sophisticated sector. So the manufacturing sector also feeds into the services sector. Because once we start building things, once we start manufacturing things, once we start in agro-processing, then we have to have a marketing arm, a service arm that is directly oriented to the manufacturing sector that will create jobs even in the service industry. So these are very important aspects of economic development that we are missing because we are not bold enough, because the opposition is so inhibitive that they have not allowed Guyana to mature into this stage of economic prosperity.
But you've spoken just about, in terms of manufacturing, the impact Amila will have. Could you speak a little to its impact directly on consumers, the average consumer?
Definitely, I will go directly into the impact of the average consumer, but I wanted to focus on the macroeconomic fundamentals because a lot of times people talk about generation of jobs, the future of the economy, the future of our country, and I want our brothers and sisters out there to understand how important these transformational projects are to unfold that future that would make it very viable for all Guyanese. Now let us look at some other attributes of the project as you would have outlined. This project would save consumers US $3.5 billion over 20 years. Imagine it would save consumer $3.5 billion over 20 years. That is $3.5 million additional resources that is back in the consumer hand to stimulate spending. When you stimulate spending, you're stimulating transaction. When you stimulate transaction, you're stimulating businesses. So it's an entire link facility. So once we have this, you will have $3.5 billion over 20 years that is immediately available in the economy to push up consumer spending. And you know the effect of that. Then it will reduce the fuel import bill by almost 25%, saving the country close to $90 million in imported fuel. Can you imagine what we can do with US $90 million? US $90 million would be able to take care of all our outstanding educational needs in terms of infrastructure. US $90 million would be able to bring our healthcare system on par with any healthcare system in this region. US $90 million would be able to take care of all the road problems we have, improve access and improvement in road network all over the country. $90 million will be freed up for government spending. When government spends, it creates opportunity. When government spends, it creates jobs. It creates vibrancy in the economy. So not investing in this project is disallowing our people, disallowing the Guyanese people from benefiting from this $90 million that will be freed up to improve their living condition. Now, as I said earlier, it would cumulatively add 6% to real GDP. It would lead to a reduction of electricity charges up to 40%. A reduction in electricity charges up to 40%. Now, if your electricity bill is $8,000 a month, or $10,000 for ease of calculation, what that would do is to change your bill to $6,000. You'll be changed. So if you're paying $10,000 per month now, by having the Amilas Falls project, you will only pay $6,000, meaning you will save $4,000, meaning that you have $4,000 either to go to a loan payment for a bank, for your house, or $4,000 additional dollars to spend. That is $48,000 per year, $480,000 in 10 years. And that is for a low-income family, a bill of $10,000. Imagine if you have a bill of $40,000. That is a saving of $16,000 per month. Imagine what this would do for a small shop owner. The supermarkets that exist within communities. It frees up capital. And when you freeze up capital, you have the ability of driving consumer spending, which ultimately would improve living condition. It also allows for 100% of electricity generation by renewable resources. 100% green energy. And in the future, we all know that green energy would play an important aspect in terms of making strategic decisions. There will be a cost to the environment, and once companies can demonstrate that their source of energy is green, then it becomes a competitive advantage. It will become a competitive advantage. This is where the future is heading, and that is another reason why we must be able to have the Amalis Falls project. Because in the future, having green energy is going to be part of a company's competitive advantage in advancing its investment portfolio. I think we have spent quite a while. I don't want to occupy all the time I have on this program dealing with some of these projects.
No, but you dealt with Amila, which is one of the hydro investments. We have also the Mazruni project that is being examined. So looking at those together, I understand a significant amount of energy will be generated, not only for use in Guyana, but possibly for sale to other countries, maybe Brazil or something.
Listen, we have long talked about our natural resources, and we have boasted about how much natural resources we have. But natural resources must be complemented with the